What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video on the channel. Well, of course, we're going to take a look at some ADA. We're getting some structure here. And so you guys know, once we have some structure, then we can make some breakout targets, breakout projections, and much more. So let's go ahead and, of course, let's get into it. So what we can see right now is that the price has pretty much done what we said it would do. And I'm very excited about that because, again, that just says that it's moving in a healthy way. So what we're looking for at the moment is if we just go swing low to swing high, our previous swing low to this swing high that we created on August 23rd on one of those middle bars, we can see here that the price came down, and this is when we made our previous video. The price came down. I said that as it does fall, if we lose this 20 EMA on the 4 hour, expect us to fall all the way to 267, as that was our 0.5. We lost this, came down to the 267, tried to establish it as some support, but we were a bit unable to. As soon as this chart opened, we came all the way down to the 0.618 at $2.60, which was the second support level we drew out yesterday. And then from there, it looked like support had been established and that we were going to be working our way up. Well, of course, you guys do know that I always say when we see these big moves, right, when we see this big retracement back up, we cannot get excited until we clear the top side 786, which is just going to be from your most recent swing high down to, let's get that Fibonacci, there we go, your most recent swing high down to your most recent swing low. So I said, even though this looks good, we're not getting excited until we clear 289, this 0.786, because that's our continuation. That's our breakout. That's when we know, okay, it's time to go. So what we did see again is that the price came back up from there, went right into our retracement zone, never even hit 289, and then now we are creating a bit of structure here. And so with that being said, now we of course have our breakout targets. We can start making expectations, and now we can start to look at this thing from a more broad perspective of, okay, well, where are we going and when is a good buying opportunity? Should we be buying? So personally speaking, I never buy within consolidational structures, right? Whether it's a wedge, a descending wedge, an ascending wedge, I don't buy on those. I buy on breakouts. I buy on breakouts and the breakout to the Fibonacci's. When both of those happens, that's when I get in. Until they happen, I will simply just sit there and watch, especially now that us in the Patreon, we're up on this thing again. It's crazy. I mean, it's 150, 165% off that $1.05 purchase just in a few weeks. And so I know so many of you who are watching these videos who got in at $1.05. So big congratulations. And so, within these little time frames right here, there's no point in being impatient. There's no point in just aping in, especially on a trade that is just up simply so high, right? And so what I'm looking for at this moment is going to be the two steps, your typical two steps from me whenever we see these types of patterns. So step number one, let's talk about what we can expect. Step number one is going to be the breakout of this green line. So we're setting these highs and we're creating that trend line that's creating the bull side of our triangle. So first things first, of course, I do want to see the breakout of this. Now, this is not what I'm buying. Some people say to buy here, and I'm just not a fan of it, right? Sure, if this thing is going to keep going upwards, yeah, that's a great buy because then you say, okay, well, we're going to continue back up and we're going to be up 20, 30%. Sure. But I like to buy on confirmations. Again, I don't like to be emotional. I don't like to be stressed. I don't like to be any of that. As an MMA fighter, we go through enough stress, right? So I want to stay as emotionless as I possibly can. And so I like to buy whenever I can justifiably confirm it. So what I look for is after step number one, this is step number one, the breakout here. I then look at step number two. Now, step number two is going to be the clearing of the 786 from our highest point down to our lowest point. So if we come down and we set a new low, we're going to have to move this Fibonacci down to that point. At the moment, since this is our lowest low, we draw our Fibonacci from here to here, okay, on that same line. Now, what we want to do is clear that 786 line. That is our confirmation. Once we clear it and get a few closes above it, some support establishment, then that goes to say, okay, probably some new all-time highs are right around the corner, okay? So my current two steps at the moment for this to be the buy that I'm looking for is going to be the breakout here plus the establishment of support on top of the 786. If both of those happens, I think that's a fantastic buying opportunity, and I do believe that we're going to be on trajectory and start to work our way up back to $3.40. Now, if we start to see the price falling, I definitely would like to see that we hold some support very, very soon. Now, the two support levels that I'm looking at, of course, are going to be the bottom side of this triangle here. We're going to see bottom side of the triangle here, and we are also going to see the $2.50 level being incredibly, incredibly important. So if what we do again is just go swing low to swing high there, one thing we can see is that that is going to create our 786 right at $2.50. So of course that is a very pretty number, $2.50 and $2 and $1, you know, just those inherent levels of support and resistance in which we run into just because people set limit orders and things like that. And so of course, if we were to fall out the bottom side of this, that's going to put us into a direct interaction, in my opinion, straight down to the 250, in which we're going to interact with the 50 EMA on the 4-hour and the 786. And I definitely want to see that we hold support there. If we were to hold support here, start to work our way back up, and then we clear the top side of this triangle, we re-enter into the apex and clear it, definitely be looking to get ready for us to clear that 289, in my opinion, or we're going to be creating some very big consolidational event in which we're going to have a long-term breakout target. So of course, you know, whenever we see these consolidational events, while we're seeing so much good hype, while we're seeing everything being ready for smart contracts on the 12th in Japan and all that stuff, I am still under the belief that we're going to continue to work our way back up. But as we do set these higher highs, right, as we continuously set these all-time highs, we do have to be careful, because remember, you guys know, we talk about this all the time. Whenever we see these big moves, whenever we're setting an uptrend, the only two steps to an uptrend that you need are higher highs and higher lows. And again, we set the higher high already. So at any given point, we can be coming down to set that higher low before continuation upwards. So the more you're buying within this little time, the more at risk you're putting yourselves. Do I still think that it's a buy in the long term? Absolutely. I still think that ADA at $2.68 is a steal in the span of 5 years, right? But in terms of short term and your emotional durability, I do believe that the more you buy here, the more at risk you're putting yourselves while we're setting new all-time highs. But if you're going to be buying, and my non-financial advice, of course, I would 100% be looking to see that we clear some of those confirmation levels before just aping in random amounts of money. Okay. And so in terms of if we were to lose that $2.50 mark, you know, say if we were to break out to the downside and we really started to lose this level, well, I would finally be looking for this interaction with our daily EMAs, in which we're still very, very extended off of. So you guys do know that these serve as very important factors when we're in these uptrends, right? There's multiple times that we'll see that the price will come up, we'll get very extended, and we'll see some type of retracement back to our EMAs before upward continuation. Okay, so do understand that at some point during this uptrend, we are going to touch this 20 EMA on the daily. I mean, it's going to happen at some given point. So definitely do be prepared for that, right? Even if we lost to 250, I would say that that's probably the moment that it's going to come down to retest it. At that point, it's at $2.19 right now, but I'm sure we would work it up a little bit. So I would definitely be expecting, if we lose 250, to look for a more continuous fall back down to that 20 EMA on the daily. So overall, again, though, things are looking great. I'm honestly not even remotely concerned about this move that we're seeing at the moment. I don't think this is anything out of the ordinary. I think especially with all of that resistance in which we were talking about is right over here, with so many Fibonacci extension levels reaching right within this little box, I definitely think that it makes sense that we're seeing a pullback here. It's not anything concerning, and I wouldn't even be remotely, you know, double checking the charts to make sure it's not crashing or something like that until we started to lose 250, and then I would be like, okay, well, we definitely need to find some support on that 20 EMA on the daily. So at the moment, we're looking to see that. Of course, again, the bus stop is the most important place to be buying, right? So the moment we see some confirmation, that could be a fantastic buying opportunity, but buying before that, you're just simply putting yourself at more risk, okay? So with that being said, of course, you guys know I will update you as soon as we do get some more info, as soon as something does happen. I have a daily update coming out tomorrow morning, but if something big does happen, we see a breakout to either side before then, I will, of course, let you guys know as soon as possible. But with that being said, that is going to be about it for today's video. Of course, if you did enjoy, you can let me know by smashing that like button and subscribing to the channel if you are new, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.